It began one stormy night when two boys, one from the UK and the other from Ireland, met, changing the course of musical history forever. We've come to know them as Fod Beers.
Well, I met George in a rundown pub, but, as a true Irishman, I couldn't pass a pint, But, anyways, they set up, and there were a few musicians coming in, and he just so happened to be first act up. What did he sing again? Ah, yes. It was like this really shocking version of the campfire song from SpongeBob. His voice crackled all over the place, but he seemed somewhat confident. After that, I walked up to him, sat down and asked him, "Are you related to a dying rat?" Obviously mocking his singing voice, and he snapped back with, "At least I'm not drinking my dreams away with beers for tears." And, we struck a conversation, and I switched beers for tears into tears for beers. And that's how we began our journey.
Well, they came into the studio, as all bands do, but they had an unusual listing of songs under the titular album title, Tears Fod Beers. The boys had a strong interest in the equipment, and it was that strong of an interest, 4 pint glasses and a metal triangle went missing. Jim came out with a guitar riff that seemed to be parodying another song, but that didn't really matter because it produced their first ever hit, which surprised everybody.
Welcome to the pub. There's no orange juice here. Even while we chatter, we will drink beer, loads of Heineken and loads of course, bottles of lager around the doors. Everybody wants porter fresh from tap.
But George and I enlisted the help of this humble, gentle giant of a drummer named Rattlebones and his local cult tambourine player, who they called Seamus Jinglehands. Now, Seamus would have always had a knack for coming up with beats ever since he found a porter glass with a few coins in it and started jamming. But I don't think we, the producers, or anybody out there expected him to be as versatile as he is on the tambourine. There's a case to be made. He's the best man there's ever been when it comes to hitting that tambo and guzzling down a sausage sambo.
I was depressed, but I live oh tambourine. I was depressed, but I live oh tambourine. I was depressed, but I live. Depressed, but I live. Depressed, but I live oh tambourine. I was low on life and all out of home. I was living the life of an incredibly breast bum. But then I found the light. Then I found what's right. Then I found my darling in tambourine. I was depressed, but I live oh tambourine. I was depressed, but I live oh tambourine. I was depressed, but I live. Why depressed, but I live? Depressed, but I live oh tambourine.
Boys had it big, but no one knew how big they'd get until they took over in the top 100, beating out Tomorrow by their digestives.
But tomorrow seems so and the top spot at the time being We're Stuck Under a Chair by Doggy T. Doggington and Foxy.
I'm stuck under a chair with this pirate fox. We're stuck under a chair. We're stuck under a chair of a mob boss. We're stuck under a chair. Everywhere we go, we're stuck under a chair. Everywhere.
You know, I knew Jim beforehand. He used to do trivia night with us at the pub. Of course, he had a knack for music before, but I never thought he'd be in a big band. To me, he seemed more like an Iron Brew type of guy. George, he was mysterious, and we really never knew who he was, where he was from, but he seemed alright after you had a few digestives and a pint or a couple with him. They topped the charts with their debut album, and it was a miracle, really, but they made it, and it only took them a year before they changed music forever with tax evasion. I've evaded taxes before, but never like how they did.
I wanted for tax evasion. I wanted for tax evasion. We're having this conversation. I wanted for tax evasion. I wanted for tax evasion. Prison is our destination. Tax evasion. I wanted for tax evasion. It's all because of
The boys swiftly began work on their next album, and a behemoth of a drummer, Roger Rattlebones, was hired, and then swiftly fired. I was the session drummer for the album. The one Gotta Be Pink was on. The way Sigma came up with that, it was the most unorthodox way you could ever see a man come up with a hit song. I remember Seamus was just shaking his good old tambo after gulping down some sausage sambo, with some real intent mind. But it was almost like Sigma knew. He knew exactly what Jingle Hands wanted for this beat.
So lads, it goes kinda like this. Like, it's got a bounce to it, you see? Something like that.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. It explains a lot about your hatred for grey.
It shouldn't even be a colour. I mean, who decided that white and light black would make a good colour? Oh, those Brits. Those Brits, I have to say, honestly.
Hang on.
Not you, comprendo. Anyway, Seamus, you've been doing your tambo, but where's your sambo?
Well, I've been finding it awfully hard to figure out, to be honest with you, Sigma.
You know what, Jingle? Give us a good old pub beat. Get the porter glass going. Rattlebones, give us a sort of a heavy hitter, like kind of like two.
Right then, take one of It's Gonna Be Pink.
It's gotta be pink, it'll better be after this anyways.
Sigma then wrote the song based on his disdain for the colour grey and his love for the colour pink. I'm scared to ask his opinion on beige. Anyway, he just whacked out a guitar riff and solo like that, doing it pitch perfectly on the banjo. George then figured out the piano chords, and Seamus had already done his work. But they declined my role for drumming on the album. I saw the chaos between the three of them. How could they ever perform together? I mean, porter composition does matter, but I was proven wrong. Boys then released their second single, It's Got to Be Pink, which truly brightened the world and damaged many pupils.
This world is boring, this world is dull, as plain as boring as a skeleton skull. This world needs courage, this world needs color. You know my favorite, oh my brother.
Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, you think? No, my friends, it's gotta be pink. Cyan, brown, turquoise, and black. No, my friends, pink's making a comeback.
Yes, I can see where you're coming from. It explains a lot about your hatred for grey.
Tears Fod Beers then followed up their first album with their legendary Men of the People.
Welcome to the pub. There's no orange juice here. Even while we chatter, we will drink beer, loads of Heineken and loads of course, bottles of lager around the doors. Everybody wants more